Tonight's review of Raw. I'm John Pollock along with Wei Ting. Welcome to the show. We are going to go through Raw from Monday night from the O2 Arena in London, England. A slightly tape-delayed edition of Raw. Wei, did you watch this with prior knowledge of the going-ons?
I didn't realize until I was right about to watch the show when our production assistant Sam informed me that he had already read spoilers and so knew everything that was about to go on. And I asked him how it was, and he was like, "Meh."
So you didn't watch?
I did watch.
Oh, you did watch?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, we can get your...
But I concur pretty much with his opinion.
Well, there was some stuff to discuss. It kicked off with an opening, which they have updated the opening graphics, which with a lot of the new players on Raw inserted into this graphic package, and Shane McMahon, of course. As well.
Same song. I feel like that song is in need of a change.
What happens if Shane McMahon is not brought back next week? Are they going to update the opening graphic because he's all in it now?
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Shane was back in charge of Raw again this week.
No explanation. No tweet even.
No, he did tweet.
Oh, he tweeted.
He did. He said, "Thanks to all of you, I'm back again tonight."
This is just a great on-running gag.
Are we going to do this every week?
At some point, I think even the audiences won't care. We'll just,
They don't care now.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they understand that, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. This was a very stupid stipulation that we're just going to laugh about every Monday afternoon when a tweet goes out. Mm-hmm. Dean Ambrose came out for the Ambrose Asylum and noted that there was a river monster sighting and didn't know that Braun Strowman could swim, which did get quite a chuckle out of this audience. And Dean Ambrose was stunned that this joke even worked.
He's lucky that this audience likes him so much. Because if it was... Imagine Roman Reigns saying a line like this. I mean, come on. This is an audience that was there to support Dean Ambrose anyway, but there is some cringy written dialogue for Dean Ambrose on this show.
He mentioned the Late Late Show host, James Corbin?
Yeah. Corden,
I'm sorry. And his parents were there. Got quite a big reaction, way bigger than Jimmy Fallon got. He mentioned Jimmy Fallon before he announced James Corden.
Okay, well, the James Corden is from the UK.
Well, yeah, thank you.
But, I mean, this is the level of celebrity that we're dealing with now at WWE events. We can't...
This guy's fairly well known.
But it's his parents that went to the show. Who cares?
Yeah. Well, his parents.
Oh, my God. Oh, we got...
James Corden wouldn't exist without his parents.
We have the host of the Late Late Show's parents at our show. Let's show them in the front row and key them. It's amazing. It's a real draw for Mania.
Well, come on, Wei. So he brings out Shane McMahon, who comes out to a very strong response, and they replay the Hell in a Cell jump, and Ambrose is just amazed and is just talking about, wow, man, you've really got a screw loose. This was so backwards. This was so backwards from what the dynamic of this should have been. The crazy stunt at WrestleMania and the lead authority figure on Raw just shaking his head at this wild man. But instead it is Dean Ambrose, who is the voice of reason at the wild man, Shane McMahon, and his dive off of the cell.
They were kind of using Ambrose, who's the resident crazy guy on the roster, as somebody who...
I'm no Shane McMahon.
Yes, who's trying to show respect to Shane McMahon. Yeah.
They're really going full out of Dean Ambrose is everyone's wacky uncle.
Sure.
That's the character.
He loves anarchy. He loves drawing anarchy symbols. He puts it on all his clothing. He puts it on wagons. It's his thing.
He asks Shane about what his goals are on Raw, such as television ratings, which I hope are not his goal, and great matches. Shane says it's the fans, and the fans deserve better. And he calls it a new era of guys that would have never gotten chances before that are now, such as AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, all of which I will say were brought into Raw under the authorities' watch.
Sure. Okay. I don't know.
Well, these are his examples, he's saying.
But they weren't getting pushed, is what he was saying.
I guess. Are they?
Let's not think too much about that.
I'm just saying. And he says, we have arrived.
Sure.
The McMahons have arrived. They're here.
He means we, as in the indie darlings, of which he considers himself.
I think he watched a bunch of TakeOver specials, and he's now playing Triple H on NXT. Not as effectively as Triple H, but is playing that role. And would even book an identical match from a past TakeOver on this show. Kevin Owens interrupts and calls it the same old crap where a McMahon is mad with power with a vendetta against this generation's #1 star. And he says that Zayn doesn't belong anywhere near the title and that Zayn rode his coattails all these years, which prompts Sami Zayn to come out with a microphone. It was a whole army of microphones that were distributed to talent for this opening segment. Zayn came out and he noted that he was signed before Kevin Owens ever was, and Owens wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't for him. So Chris Jericho comes out as the new era of opening Raw continued, and he says that Shane is drunk with power. He never liked Shane, and he took the highlight reel away from him, his segment. And Shane shills for the network, stating you can go watch all the old highlight reels on the network. So maybe that's a future collection we're going to get. And then Shane announces Jericho against Ambrose and Owens against Zayn for payback. The plant gets removed, the physical plant, not the parents in the front row. And they all fight as Shane just leaves.
Yeah. I mean, it was sort of a corny, very predictable segment.
It was a new era of Raw.
Where everybody walks out and then a match gets made of all the people who are in the ring for later tonight. Yeah, it was kind of fun to see the UK audience's reaction to each guy as they entered, at least while the audience still had the energy to cheer for the guys.
I thought the audience, it seemed that they were most into all of the in-between stuff, and then the matches would begin, and they kind of just settled in and just wanted to watch the match. And that seemed to be the pattern throughout this Monday for me.
Settle in, as in they're quiet.
They were much quieter than I anticipated. Yeah. And I'm not even complaining about it, really. I didn't want to hear a crowd that was just going to be amusing themselves for 3 hours.
Me neither. I don't blame a crowd for being quiet. I mean, they were matches. We'll talk about it.
Each and every week, it's your chance to win a t-shirt from ProWrestlingTees.com. Simply answer the trivia question and tweet @LawRadio for your chance to win each and every Thursday. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com/law each and every week. Chris Jericho and Sami Zayn was up first. Jericho missed a springboard drop kick and went to the floor, then took a split-legged moonsault from Zayn. They went through the commercial break. Jericho was in control. The walls of Jericho got blocked. He got his knees up for a lion salt, which then Zayn got back and hit a blue thunder bomb for a 2 count. Zayn came off the top, got hit with a drop kick in midair. Jericho applied the walls, and Zayn fought to get the rope break. Jericho then went back to the floor, moved out of the way of a suicide dive, and then Zayn sprinted around the ring and then hit the tornado DDT under the middle turnbuckle. And then Jericho is cowering in the corner as they return, avoiding the haluva kick, and then pokes Zayn in the eyes and hits the code breaker, and Chris Jericho pins Sami Zayn.
Now it's like 2 weeks in a row now that Zayn has lost on Raw. So, it's interesting booking of him. I'm guessing Jericho just kind of needs a couple wins heading into this Dean Ambrose match, but I feel like they're positioning Zayn and Owens pretty much in that deep mid to lower mid level. It feels like
deep mid to lower mid level.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
what do you think?
I'm just trying to put like a pyramid in my head and figure out where the mid to lower mid area is.
Maybe think of a tower.
Yes. Well, this is kind of the opposite for Zayn and Owens, where two unstoppable forces are going to meet and someone's going to win. In this case, I mean, this is two guys that are going to lose going into Payback, and one of them is going to get a win. Mm-hmm. That's the big payoff at Payback. Mauro Ranallo was backstage because Renee Young did not make it over to the UK due to visa issues. So Mauro was with AJ Styles and barely got any words in before Anderson and Gallows walked in, and they all hugged and reunited with AJ Styles. And Gallows says how he appreciates AJ putting in a good word for them, and they're going to go off to discuss their last night that they were all together in Roppongi. And nice. I enjoyed the use of Gallows and Anderson throughout this show, and we will get into their involvement later. Big Cass and Enzo came out. Very strong reaction here. Enzo does his entrance intro. Cass then yells so loud that his voice cracks and says, "Hey, diddle diddle, Enzo's got a riddle." And Enzo says that there is hell in hello, good in goodbye, end in friend. I don't know how long this was going to go. And the buildup was for the fact that there is dud in Dudley's.
And what did he say? He said we're like A cups. What does that mean?
He means like they're not silicone. They're not artificial.
Oh, I see. Oh,
they're real.
So he's talking about.
So they're A cups because they are real, whether you like them or not.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. I thought they did really well tonight, and this UK crowd, being so into them, just made both these guys look like stars.
If
like A cups.
If Enzo is the A cup, you know what you could call this team?
Okay, say it.
Tits and Cass.
Nice.
They took on the Dudleys in the tag tournament. And I know you heard us on the Law. We were discussing the brackets of this tournament and outlining it, how you could finish this whole tournament by just guys costing each other and setting up matches for payback. And instead, what we got on this show, at least, 2 clean finishes. And I liked it, to be honest, the fact that we just got winners and losers in this tournament.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I mean, always better than having something questionable. But I think I was a little disappointed that this match was happening already, considering I think I expected more of a feud from these two. I almost expected these two to break off into their own match at the pay-per-view.
Well, what's happening is the finals apparently is going to be at Payback. So that would mean the winners of the tournament will then get their title shot later that night at Payback. And
that night? That same night?
I believe so, yes.
Why not do that match at Payback and then save the match for the next pay-per-view?
That's all. Well, that's a 3-week wait.
Because then you have no time to really build. So these guys are going to wrestle twice in the same night?
Well, I think they're taking I think everything got shuffled around because Bray Wyatt was nowhere to be seen on this show. He was sent home from the tour and probably off the pay-per-view. I think that's a safe assumption that they're not going, because there was no tease at all on this show for the Wyatts against the League of Nations.
Yeah.
So that clearly was probably the direction they were going, and perhaps this is just filling that spot. Is they're going to do the finals of the tag tournament? But you're right; they could have possibly got even longer out of it. But I think they wanted to move on after Payback from this. We'll see.
Okay.
Anyway, the big Cass and Enzo match with the Dudleys. Bubba was constantly mocking him, calling him Skywalker, beating him down. Bubba missed the senton off the turnbuckle. Cass got the hot tag, hit the Empire elbow to Devon, hit the Stinger splash in the corner, then missed a follow-up. They hit a double-team neckbreaker to Cass, and then Bubba runs into Devon and follows with a big boot from Cass, and they hit the rocket launcher off the top. Enzo pins Bubba. Clean. I was surprised at how clean it was.
Yeah, very clean. I thought Cass and Enzo both looked really good, and I'm sure Cass especially, I'm sure Vince loves this guy.
He's big and he's tanned.
And he can talk too.
Roman Reigns came out, and he repeats that catchphrase that I think everyone is tired of at this point. We're only 2 weeks into this new catchphrase line. They're booing him. He says Styles is a tough guy, and then says he's a great technical wrestler, so I guess that makes him phenomenal. And he gave the most subtle, unimpressed look on his face when he said this that I thought was great. Just very subtle. And says he's bringing the big fight to Payback, and he will hit anyone in the mouth in this new era, because this era is the era of the Roman Empire. I thought Roman Reigns was fine here.
He's fine.
Styles comes out and says he believes that Roman is one heck of a champion, no matter what anyone says, and that he will have to have the match of his life. But that's what he does, and that's why the WWE came calling for him. Reigns says that everyone likes Styles, but they will respect Reigns after Payback. He says he would rather be respected with the title than liked without it. And Styles, who is working the word phenomenal into way too much of his promos. I mean, you being someone that can appreciate this, I mean, if you were to work in waiting into everything you deliver with this, it would drive me nuts. Yeah. I know it drives you nuts.
No, I don't think I would do that. I think I try to avoid using that word, thinking that I would be doing that. So if if I'm sitting here looking at my watch, hoping that the time for this show to start will be happening soon, that's exactly what I would say.
Just imagine someone having a catchphrase in real life. How awful would that person be?
They might sell a lot of T-shirts, though.
I doubt it. Just an everyday person that has to work in some little catchphrase.
What's your catchphrase? Don't you have one?
I'd probably have to use the word lock.
Right now is the closest thing that you've ever had to a catchphrase.
I guess so. I could maybe sell a T-shirt of that. So Styles then goes to leave, and he's going up the ramp. Reigns is still in the ring when Anderson and Gallows show up and blindside Reigns and attack him. And he is put onto the shoulders of Anderson, and Gallows hits him with a boot. And Styles is looking very conflicted on the ramp at the actions of his friends.
He had a great look on his face, like he just opened the most disappointing Christmas present. Like, thanks, guys.
If I'd known about this, that would have been phenomenal. And this would play off later. Rich Brennan is backstage, and he goes to ask Reigns about the attack, and Styles says he had nothing to do with it, and Reigns does not buy this at all. He is calling AJ here on his BS, and Reigns knows his history that the three of them have, and the fact that they attacked the Usos last week, and now they're attacking him. He knows what this game is, and he is not accepting AJ's apology. I thought this was great. I think this gives a great tease for Payback, and the option that it's Anderson and Gallows that end up helping Roman Reigns, and this is all his master plan.
Yeah, I mean,
go attack the Usos on my behalf.
That would be great if they're actually going to turn Roman Reigns heel. But I would,
even if they don't, I think this is a great little hook to have going into this match.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it puts Gallows and Anderson in a spotlight in the main event picture. That's great for them, and it gives the audience exactly what they want, and that's some type of association between Anderson and Gallows with AJ. And I'm very impressed. I mean, I didn't think that they would actually put these two, AJ and the Bullet Club together because of their babyface and heel statuses, but I think they managed to find a very simple and effective way to do that. They're essentially basing all this. At one point, Michael Cole actually said New Japan, so they're being more referential to outside companies now than ever.
Mm-hmm. I hope he doesn't ever have a slip up and calls it like Old Japan Pro Wrestling or something.
Wow.
Catch all of our podcasts daily up at FightNetwork.com. You can also subscribe to Live Audio Wrestling on iTunes and listen through the free Stitcher app. Dolph Ziggler's on commentary for our next match. Ray Thompson himself, as Fandango took on Baron Corbin. Fandango came off the turnbuckle into a forearm from Corbin and then got tossed to the floor. Ziggler acknowledges that Corbin has the it factor because he is tall, which had to have been an inside joke from Ziggler. Corbin then tosses Fandango into Ziggler. He just launched Fandango into orbit here as he connected with Ziggler. And then Corbin attacked Ziggler. And he goes back into the ring, hits the end of days, and pins Fandango in 1:22. And then Ziggler runs in to attack Corbin. Corbin, after exerting himself in this match, just shoves him off and hits him with a big boot and left Dolph laying here.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. On this show, they have called all these guys up, and they are making all of them, they're booking them all very well so far.
Yeah, I thought so.
They're laying out the old guard.
Yep, I thought Corbin did pretty fine on this show. Compared to the rest, I feel like he's one of the guys I'm least excited about of all the newcomers, but I think he did well tonight.
Miz and Maurice are backstage getting ready to come out for their segment, and a soda has spilt on the floor, so a PA puts his jacket over top so they can walk over it.
Who leaves a spilt soda just like that on the floor? Who would do that?
A jerk, that's who would do it.
Yeah.
Someone that has no regard for the workplace and cleanliness. Natalya and Titus, did you catch this?
Yeah, I saw this.
This was Titus's return.
This is an anti-smoking ad.
It was, yes.
Natalya and Titus were both doing. I feel like Natalya's been getting a lot of extra promotional opportunities lately. We saw that Kit Kat ad. We saw that amazing Subway ad that nobody could forget. And, of course, now an anti-smoking ad.
The world is her oyster.
Mm-hmm.
Natalya and Titus did the spot where the thing is, like, Titus finishes everything.
It's truth. It's the Truth Commission. Okay, and they have a new slogan that says "Finish this" or "Finish it," as in like finish smoking.
Yes, be the generation that finishes smoking.
Yeah, and so the ad is Natty talking about how Titus finishes everything.
Yes, from reading books to using her hairspray and finishing her selfies.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I want is Shinsuke Nakamura to be part in this ad.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
An anti-smoking ad from
I
Shinsuke.
mean, I'm sure he's probably had to think about stopping smoking. You know what I mean?
Are you kidding? He's in a new place. He's trying to get accustomed to a whole new life. There's probably some stress factors.
Who else smokes on the roster that you know of?
I don't know. I don't.
Who's an R-Truth a smoker?
Of certain products.
R-Truth. Get it?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
He could be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We got a cologne spot. This was the same one from last week. I've never seen vignettes that have so little anticipation behind the eventual appearance of these guys.
Yeah, I don't know what these are supposed to be for, but they kind of make me want to go to Puerto Rico.
So it's subliminal then.
Yeah.
It's not even subliminal. That's exactly what they are presented
maybe they're
as.
actual tourism ads.
Maybe they're doing a tour of Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
That's what these are for.
It's the Puerto Rican government paying them to make these.
We got one tweet last week that was the best thing out of these whole things. They said, because they're always smelling the hibiscus.
Yeah.
And the fact is, what is not to get? They're the colognes. They smell good. The Miz and Maurice are out for Miz TV. If our energy level is low, I think we're reflecting what this Raw was. This is a very low energy Raw.
Sure.
And I'm not even saying that negatively. Maybe we all need certain Raws like this, where I by no means hated this show. It was just
there.
It was there.
Yeah.
It was like Puerto Rico on a postcard. It looks really nice.
I'd be pretty excited about a Puerto Rico postcard.
Just a postcard, though. You're not actually there.
No. Okay. Yeah, exactly. It was definitely a lower energy show.
Maurice was very high energy, though, for this particular segment, introducing The Miz. They showed a photo of Prince George, and Maurice called him generic and plain. And then they called their baby pristine and perfect, referencing these two procreating a championship.
Who's Prince George? Like the William and
Kate's
son,
I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This photo looked like he's from the 1600s, though.
Well, he's not.
Looked like
very
a
thin of the hair already.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably just starting to grow it.
So they kiss together, and then Cesaro comes out in a suit and calls them a royal pain in the ass. The jokes on this show were of the worst I've ever heard. These were terrible. These were me level. Miz calls him a supporting actor. The crowd is chanting boring at Miz, and then he says he has a monologue to recite from the movie Taken, from Liam Neeson's character, but since then he has mystified it. So he holds up a cell phone. Have you seen Taken?
Oh my God, it's my dad's favorite movie.
Oh, this is right.
Yeah. I've seen all the Takens.
Is this how well did he do? I've not seen this movie.
It's a pretty famous, line, and did fine. Not Liam Neeson, but
no.
Yeah.
So he held up the phone, did this whole monologue, and then he stops, and he's going to do it again. When Cesaro stops him, he says he's going to win the title at Payback. And a day after what would have been Roddy Piper's 62nd birthday, he quotes Piper saying he came to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and he's all out of bubblegum. And Miz doesn't want to fight and says instead Cesaro has a singles match with Rusev, who comes out alongside Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. And Cesaro says he has spoken to Shane McMahon. It's now an 8-man tag, and Cesaro will be teaming with The New Day as he takes off his suit, revealing a Bootio shirt, and the crowd lost their minds for The New Day's entrance.
I thought this was a great introduction of The New Day. It made them seem really huge. And it really felt like this audience got really loud for a lot of entrances, but once matches started to actually take place, like you said, they would just kind of sit back. The segment, I thought, I really enjoyed The Miz with Maurice now. I think she's a great addition to his act. And I thought the segment was cute, at times a little cringy for how corny it was. The Cesaro thing, I mean, I think he's doing very well. But, I mean, the whole thing with the suit.
You can't get over this suit.
I just don't get it. Yes, I know. When he takes it off, it's
think of that action figure when it comes out.
The tearaway suit. But what about the sunglasses? Like, I know he's trying to do like a James Bond type of thing, but I don't know. I think he just looks really cheap. It looks like he just bought all that stuff at like, Walmart.
Have you ever worn a tearaway suit?
No.
So you can't speak to it.
No, I can't.
This could be the difference maker for him. This could help him connect with the audience, which he has been lacking because of his roots. This coming Wednesday on Review Away, Wei Ting and I are reviewing the latest WWE Studios film, Countdown, starring Dolph Ziggler, along with many WWE cameos. It's Review Away this Wednesday at liveaudiowrestling.com. The Miz, Rusev, Alberto Del Rio, and Sheamus took on Cesaro and The New Day. Lengthy match here. And back-to-back 8-person tags we got on the show. Del Rio hit a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. They got the heat on Xavier Woods for a prolonged period of time, going through a commercial break. Cesaro got the tag in, hit the uppercut express to Sheamus and The Miz in opposite corners, delivered a high cross to Sheamus for a 2 count, and then Sheamus blocked the Cesaro swing. Everyone comes in. Del Rio hit a backstabber to Kofi. Big E came in with a belly-to-belly. Then the big ending was hit to The Miz, and it ends with Cesaro hitting what has been identified a number of times now as the Gotch neutralizer. So they have
the Simon Gotch neutralizer.
Yes, exactly. They have Simon Gotch already immortalized, just 2 weeks on the roster. And Cesaro gets the win.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, I thought all the matches, all the segments on this show really had a point.
This was like a by-the-numbers, well-booked show when you have a pay-per-view coming up in 2 weeks. Like, if you're looking for lots of complaints, I'm not going to have them on this show. I mean, this was just a lot of this all just made sense of where you're going.
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess my complaint would be just nothing really kind of stood out. I found myself kind of tuning up for this. And
it was on the opposite end. I mean, this was a long 3-hour show.
Sure. Yeah.
Every 3-hour show is going to be long.
But for some reason, I think I found myself feeling it, not necessarily bored, but I was just like, this was a Raw that you just kind of put on in the background while you do other things, while you check your Twitter or balance your checkbook.
When was the last time you balanced your checkbook?
People still do that? I don't know.
I have no idea.
It's all automatic, isn't it?
Yes. Morrow's with Charlotte and Ric Flair backstage, and they show footage of the angle with Natalya last week at the end of their match where she got saved. Charlotte says that Morrow is worse than Dr. Phil and is not much of a journalist, and says unlike him, she's actually done things in her life, and says all women in this division are failures. When Natalya walks in and says she made her tap and that Shane McMahon has booked a rematch for Payback between these two, and Ric Flair might be in Charlotte's corner, but she is going to have the WrestleMania reviewer himself, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Cornering Natalya. This is verbatim of what they did for the TakeOver special in May of 2014, which was really well done. And I really don't have any problem with them copying it for a larger crowd 2 years later.
Me neither. I think that's what NXT is really there for. It's to be able to preview, these characters and to develop these characters while you're not in front of the mainstream audience yet. I wish that they would almost do this for the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens feud, because I think they're basically continuing that one right off of NXT, including Sami Zayn making reference to Owens attacking him at NXT. But they haven't done a good enough job in that feud of showing what the initial rivalry is about. Whereas this one, I think they're just basically redoing it from scratch, and I think that's totally fine. I wonder how this will affect Bret's review of Payback. with him being on.
Yeah. I mean, this will be in Chicago. I mean, he's going to get a great reaction. This is going to be his first WWE appearance since the cancer news was made by Brett earlier this year. So this Payback card is shaping up to be a really good card, and this will be a very good match. So then there was big news on Monday.
Yeah.
From E!
Huge.
A Total Bellas spin-off show. This is not replacing Total Divas, by the way. There's going to be another season of Total Divas, which the Bellas will still have a part in.
It's going to be a lot of Bellas.
And it's going to be a lot of reviews from you.
No, it's not.
What do you mean?
I'm not going to watch all that.
Why not?
Are you kidding me? I got a real life.
You've made a commitment. You can't just drop your obligations.
No, I'm sorry. My job is to watch this show. Maybe somebody else can take over the Raw review. I'll just only review reality shows.
E's reality shows.
Yeah.
Well, the Total Bellas spinoff, it's going to feature the extended family. We're going to get the trials and tribulations of Nikki and John, Daniel and Bree, Kathy, the mother, and her new husband, John Laurinaitis, which already makes me interested in watching this.
Can't wait.
And, of course, JJ and his wife. JJ, the brother.
Oh, my God. I hate that brother. He's just, the Bellas brother, just looks like such a douchebag.
Wow. Well, that's coming this fall.
What a family.
It's only, I think it's only a 6-episode season.
Yeah.
So I think you could.
For now.
For now. This is actually, I mean, the fact is, this will be now another set of episodes that E is going to be paying a rights fee for WWE that they are going to gain.
Great for them.
And it's not like it's replacing Total Divas.
And we all
that's going to increase their TV revenue for that quarter.
Sure. And I think we know that the ratings have been sinking for Total Divas this season, yet they've announced
big changes, though, coming. Rusev's going to turn that ship around.
Rusev with Lana and Dean with Renee.
Yes.
Probably be featured. So, I mean, I'm I'll watch it for sure. I'm a Total Divas fan. I think now is a great time to do it.
So what's the problem?
The problem is that I don't, to be honest, like watching and taking notes kind of takes the pleasure out of doing it for me.
No, come on.
So I might not necessarily review them, but I'll watch them. And I think what an interesting scenario that this family has found themselves in. The two girls are both dating main eventers, or at least in the top star of the company, and also Daniel Bryan, a beloved former main eventer, and now even the mom has married a wrestler. There's wrestling tie-ins, throughout the whole thing, and they're all going to live in the same house.
Of course. I mean, what family would not opt to do that?
I can't wait.
This is like the Ewings.
I can't wait for like a John Laurinaitis, Daniel Bryan, dad-son talk.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Uncle, or I guess, what is Road Warrior Animal's relationship to Daniel Bryan?
Oh my God, he'd be his uncle-in-law, his step-uncle-in-law.
What a family! What a family!
Can't wait, I think it's a great idea.
Comes over in his face paint, shoulder pads. You can check out the Law's YouTube channel at youtube.com/liveaudiowrestling. Subscribe for all of your free videos, including Ask Away, interviews, and much more. Our 8-women's tag featured Charlotte, Summer Rae, Tamina, and Naomi against Natalya, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Paige. Very big reaction for Paige when she was tagged in. She had a somersault off the apron to the floor, and the heels got laid out as they went through the break. They got control on Becky, working over her in the corner, stomping her, and then she was able to make the tag to Natalya, who came in, ate a spin kick from Summer Rae, and then Charlotte tagged in while Natalya was down and got hit with a clothesline. Everyone comes in. They fight to the floor. Charlotte goes for the figure 8, but it's blocked by Natalya, who applies the sharpshooter, and Charlotte taps.
Yep. They set up Natalya very well for the hot tag and gave her the win with the visual of the champion tapping out. And I think they did that and did all that very successfully. I think Natalya's getting a great run right now, and Charlotte was great here as well.
They would have to monumentally screw up next Monday's Raw for me to say that Payback had a worse build-up than WrestleMania. Because right now they have, for me.
Yeah, sure.
Styles is showing talking to Gallows and Anderson backstage, but you can't hear them. Shane is hanging out with the Usos. Another Cologne spot, walking around in a villa in Puerto Rico and talking about the Fountain of Youth. Nice. The Vaudevillains and the Usos were next in a semifinal for the tag tournament. They attacked Jimmy right away. He was draped on the top, got beaten down with strikes. You know, I thought it was going to be awkward for the Vaudevillains with the Raw commentary team because I thought they would be very much comedy-based and poking fun at them, and I just didn't think they were going to be as effective at getting them over as the SmackDown crew has. I was wrong here because they didn't play any comedy here, and Cole was doing his best here, I think, giving some background on both of these guys because they haven't been on Raw at this point. Jay got tagged in.
Keep in mind, it's Michael Cole producing the SmackDown commentary, right? So
yeah, no, it's true. It's just you don't typically always get kind of the same serious tone as you do on SmackDown, which for the most part you get. And it seems even on SmackDown now that you do have Morrow in his role, but Lawler is like there to be Morrow's foil and like make fun of him now and make fun of all his pronunciations and all of his facts and that's kind of just
make fun of his facts. Yeah.
I mean, there was a line last week where they were talking about
well, the Earth is not round.
Morrow's talking about it was a Muhammad Ali fight, and then Jerry Lawler just lets it breathe for me. He's like, "Thanks, info that nobody in the world cares about." And then it was an Elvis Presley joke because then Morrow came back and said he's the king of useless information. Anyway, here. Jay got tagged in. He knocked Simon Gotch off the apron, pressed English in the air and hit a Samoan drop, and then English came off the turnbuckle into a super kick for a 2 count. Jimmy got thrown into the barricade, and then Jay dives to the floor, and they show his left shoulder, which is all taped up. English runs the shoulder into the post, and that leads to the whirling dervish as they pin Jay at 326. I like this even more because it would be very easy that if you were setting up the Usos against Anderson and Gallows, okay, they just come here and they cost the Usos the match. Instead, they did cost them the match, but it was from the attack last week where Jay got thrown into the barricade. His shoulder, which he had legitimately injured last year, is taped up this week, and that caused the finish of this match. And you got a strong win for the Vaudevillains. And now you have a strong final with these 2 new tag teams that have not lost yet. And I thought this tournament, they've done a very good job here.
Yeah, it's been very surprising, and it's an NXT final, and I like it. They're pushing fresh blood. I think at this point they just need to follow up more with the Vaudevillains and, you know, give them some promos, give them some video packages and such, just to let people know who these guys are.
Well, you can take that thought, multiply it by 100, and we apply it to Apollo Crews, who is the focus of the next segment. On the Raw pre-show, the Social Outcasts, down a man with Adam Rose gone, came and tried to recruit Crews on the pre-show, and Crews said he would join the Social Outcasts if one of them can beat him, and if he wins, they have to leave him alone forever. So Apollo Crews took on Heath Slater in what I can only categorize as the longest 4-minute and 29-second match I have seen. Crews showed he had a great vertical leap early, drop kick. I mean, this guy, very athletic, very talented. Slater then throws him shoulder first into the post. And then we got the world's longest rear chinlock spot by Slater. He eventually got thrown off, then got driven into the corner. There was a flying reverse elbow by Crews, and then on the edge of the apron, he had a standing moonsault to knock down Axel and Dallas on the floor, came back into the ring, and hit the spinning sit-out powerbomb. And Crews got the win, but, I mean, of all the call-ups, I mean, to me, there is no competition for who is the bottom spot is being occupied, and that's Apollo Crews. Well, I mean, they're letting this guy win, but he is the one too many, to me, of the call-ups, where they don't have any solid idea for him.
I also feel like they're setting him up by kind of, you know, having him kind of in the background right now before they actually give him a real push in a real program. You know, I think the matches are too long. I feel like his strength is just the flashy moves.
This was 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, and he should just be out there doing flashy moves and squashing guys like Heath Slater. So, especially this late into the show, the crowd just didn't seem to care.
This coming Sunday on The Law, tune in at 11 p.m. Eastern Time for a full review of everything going down in professional wrestling, and we will be joined by ROH star Moose, plus Dave Meltzer and more. It's Sunday night, The Law, 11 p.m. Eastern. Then Owens came out and walked down the ramp as Cruz was exiting, and they announced AJ Styles will be on Miz TV for SmackDown this week. Owens and Dean Ambrose was our main event, and they started off with a big trade of strikes, very fast-paced. Owens bailed to the floor, and Ambrose hit a suicide dive. They fought by the announce desk, and Owens got thrown over. Ambrose then got sent to the floor later after they returned from a commercial break, and Owens hit this frog splash off the apron to the floor that they replayed. Owens got knocked off the turnbuckle. Then they went to the floor, took an elbow from Ambrose off the top. Ambrose then hit a slingshot clothesline. They fought on the turnbuckle. Ambrose hit a superplex, went for the dirty deeds. It got blocked. The pop-up powerbomb was countered with a Hurricane Rana, and then Owens rolled through, hit a super kick for a 2 count, fisherman suplex off the turnbuckle for another 2 count, and then Owens climbed to the top, went for the frog splash, and Ambrose went to get his knees up, and Owens landed right on his leg, at this awkward spot, he hadn't fully gotten the knees in position, and then missed with a cannonball. There was a roll-up into the dirty deeds, which Ambrose hit, and Ambrose won this match clean. A lot of clean finishes on this show. And the final appearance on this show was by Chris Jericho, who showed up in a black scarf, no shirt, and maroon pants, and laid out Ambrose with a code breaker, and that was our final scene to go off the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a very by-the-numbers episode of Raw. I think the biggest surprise, of course, is perhaps the Vaudevillains getting that win into the tournament finals, which I'm a fan of. Perhaps part of the reason why this felt like a very plain episode of Raw was because it was so by-the-numbers. And, I don't think I should be complaining about that.
I really didn't mind this, to be honest. It was too long of a show, but I'm going to say that most weeks about Raw. But I can't complain about the booking on this show. It
made sense. It was logical. And
clean finishes, stuff that's building. I think they've almost been forced that this was a week where they slowed down the pace of everything. We didn't get 10 million angles on this show. It was here's your card. You pretty much know Payback. We've got 7 matches listed here for Payback. So just looking here at the card, we've got Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, The New Day against the winner of the tournament, which is, of course, the Vaudevillains against Enzo and Cass, The Miz against Cesaro for the IC title, Dean Ambrose against Chris Jericho, and then Charlotte against Natalya, probably adding at least Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. Maybe we get Anderson and Gallows, though I don't think they really need to be in a match on this show. Their involvement should be whether they are getting involved in the main event or not. I don't know if you need to put them with the Usos on this show, though they could.
Yeah. I think that looks like a great show.
So you will be watching Payback then?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Raw. It was not the most earth-shattering edition of Raw, but nonetheless, some good wrestling on the show. Some good booking. A welcome change. So coming up later this week, Way and I are going to be back. We are going to review a movie that to me felt like it was watching 8 editions of Raw. Would you like to let our listeners in on what we will be reviewing this Wednesday?
This Wednesday, we are going to talk about WWE Studios' latest project, Countdown, starring Dolph Ziggler as Ray Thompson.
And it's what I was doing for 90 minutes.
Yes, counting down. Dolph Ziggler plays a cop who has
the exotically named Ray Thompson.
Yes, who has to stop and find a kidnapped child with a bomb strapped to his chest.
Anatoly,
and he solves mysteries and tries to locate this boy in order to save his life as the clock counts down to the explosion.
Yes. This movie was originally entitled 6:42 for 6 hours and 42 minutes, which I thought was the runtime after I finished this, but was actually the amount of time that Ray Thompson had before this bomb would go off that was strapped to young Anatoly. So we will discuss this on our 6:42 edition of Review Away. this coming Wednesday. And of course, you can go up to liveaudiowrestling.com. You can catch The Law from Sunday night, where we were joined by Stan Hansen.
We also have a contest to announce.
That is right. We have announced our new lip sync contest, which is now open. You can get all of the details. Where's the best place to go? At youtube.com/liveaudiowrestling. There's a video up with all the details.
Also, lawradio.proboards.com. The full thread, including the deadline, is up there. So check
yes,
that
the
out.
deadline is Monday.
No, I thought it was Friday.
April 29th.
Yes.
I believe that's
I
a
think so.
coherent date.
Just go to lawradio.pro.
So submit
I'll figure that out.
Submit your videos. We will go through all of them, and we will announce a winner.
Yeah.
So that's all coming your way. Thank you for tuning in to Review of Raw. You can catch it each and every week here on Fight Network. And, of course, listen to the full podcast at liveaudiowrestling.com and subscribe on iTunes. He is Wei Ting. I am John Pollock, and we'll speak with you next week on Review of Raw.